Hey, gang, I want to tell you about True Hemp Science full spectrum CBD products. They are fantastic. I've been using them now for a couple of months. I've used their balms. I've used their oils to sleep. And today I'll be talking about a whole new product. Now listen, True Hemp Science promises you premium quality, pure ingredients, and true value. They source the highest grade organic hemp from around the world to handcraft the finest full spectrum CBD products. They offer a complete line of CBD products, including full spectrum CBD oils, tinctures, CBD skincare lotions, CBD sports rubs, CBD gummies, and CBD gluten-free chocolates. They number their CBD products to differentiate them by strain, by farm, and by extraction method. Now, last week I was telling you about the number 81, which is great for relaxation and sleep. But today I'm going to be talking to you about number G41. That's full spectrum CBG plus CBDA plus terpenes. Now, this has given me some focus. It has some CBD in it, but it doesn't make you sleepy or tired or foggy in any way. The CBG kind of gives you some focus, and it energizes your brain while keeping you calm and cool. You know what I'm saying? People report it relaxes their brain and does not affect cognitive performance. While it is calming, it is less physically so than CBD. It's great for working. It's great for getting your work done. I'm even using it right now. So, gang, How Did I Get Here is partnered with True Hemp Science full spectrum CBD products. And if you use the code HDIGH, you will get something special. Purchase $65 worth of regular price products and receive 296 milligrams of number 81 distillate. That's the one I was telling you about. That's great for rest, relaxation, and sleep. Just go to truehempscience.com/HDIGH for How Did I Get Here? And you can also visit them at their brick and mortar store. That's right. They have a physical location right here in Austin at 505 West Mary Street, Unit C, Austin, Texas. Don't forget, use the code HDIGH. If you're already using CBD products, switch over to this one. I promise it's going to be great. You're going to love it. All of these products are great, and the CBDA is unbelievable. Like I'm telling you, I feel very clear. I feel very focused. I haven't been drinking a bunch of coffee all day, and I'm not all anxious from coffee. You know what I'm saying? TrueHempScience.com, HDIGH. You're not only getting yourself some CBD, but you're helping us out here, right? By using the code HDIGH. TrueHempScience.com. Go get your full spectrum CBD products today. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here are your hosts,
When we talk,
All right. Hello, I'm Johnny. I am your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a good week, whatever you've been doing this week, and you're ready to ease into your weekend in style. Maybe you got plans to do stuff. Hey, gang, tonight, the day that this comes out, if you live in San Antonio, Friday, May 13th, Skyrocket will be playing at Sam's Burger Joint. Come on out. Always a good time. Always a good time at Sam's. We start about 9. We finish about 11:30. You can get home in time to make it home before you turn into a fucking pumpkin or something, right? What a week, gang. What a week. As you heard, if you listen to the show, I've been in Houston. The last show, I actually did the intro there in the office that used to be my grandpa's office. Because my grandma is, slowly sort of fading out. And I came back to Austin yesterday to rehearse with Skyrocket for these 3 shows we have this weekend. Sam's tomorrow night. We got Sam's tonight, the day you're listening to this. And the day I'm doing this, we're playing a private show on a roof. And then Saturday, a wedding. And then I'll be heading back to Houston, and we're playing two shows there next weekend. So I'll be there for a while. So you'll be hearing from me from Houston. I'll keep you updated on what's going on. My grandma's still hanging in there. She's still doing good. I mean, she gets up, she goes, hangs out in the living room. She walks herself out there, with her walker. So she's still hanging in there, but she's forgetting stuff. And there's a mini stroke situation that they think is happening. So that's what happens. I'm looking forward to getting out there Sunday morning and hanging with her for the week. Spending time. Being with the lady I love so much, right? All right. You know what? Actually had a really nice day today. Before I'm doing this and before I have to go to sound check, I went and met with Mary Gaucher and Jamie Harris before they left town. We went and had coffee at their hotel. Then me and Jamie, Mary took off because she had a plane to catch. I took Jamie over to Cosmic, and we ended up hanging out with Kevin Russell from Shiny Ribs and that really cool guy Rick from 9 Mile Records, who was on the show a few months ago. What a great guy! I love that guy. And my old friend Chris Nelson, the fabulous bass player who played with Jamie Harris for years. Anyway, great hanging out with everyone. Great getting to see everyone and kind of touch base. I haven't seen Jamie in person in years, and it felt really good to see her. So good to see friends, and glad to be going back to Houston after this to spend some time with my grandma. Gang, I have a great show for you today. Eric Braden from Austin band Big Bill is my guest on the show. They have a brand new album called Public Freakout Compilation coming out on Spaceflight Records. It comes out on June 10th. June 10th. You can find them at bigbillband.com. And their singles, Almost Everybody and Forget About Monday, are out now. These are great, great songs. Great songs. They're a fucking really cool band, and they're super energetic, super entertaining. I haven't seen them, but I've seen video and stuff of them. Eric and I have a fantastic conversation. He came over, and luckily he was able to tolerate Rosie and her insanity and her love of people that come and do the podcast. You know, that is true. I should sell that as part of the thing. Hey, a dog will love you while you do the podcast, almost like an emotional support animal while you talk about your life. Anyway, Eric and I have a great conversation. He's such a great, I really enjoy Big Bill. I love what they do is like this kind of thing that I talked about with Lord Friday the 13th, where you're an art band and you express yourself in almost a punk rock way, but there's more than just punk rock going on with Big Bill. A lot more than punk rock. We talk about that. As I said, their album Public Freakout Compilation comes out on June 10th. Their singles from that album, Almost Everybody and Forget About Monday, are available now, all on the Spaceflight Records, but you can go to bigbillband.com to get linked in and do what you need to do. You can pre-order their record on Bandcamp. Do what you need to go do by going to bigbillband.com. Eric and I have a great conversation. I hope you enjoy it. This is me and Eric Braden from Big Bill, the band from Austin. Let's get down. Where are you from, Eric?
I was born in Houston.
Oh yeah, baby. What part of Houston? Where did you?
I grew up in Katy.
Okay.
So I was born in Houston, and then a few years later, my parents moved to Katy, which is in the suburbs.
Did you go going to that Katy Mills Mall?
I did. I remember when they opened Katy Mills Mall, and it was a huge deal. The whole community came out.
Did you play music in Houston or no?
No.
No. Okay. What brought you to Austin? Did you move on your own?
So I went to college at Texas Tech.
Okay.
And I was a DJ at the radio station, and
oh, cool.
That's kind of when I was already into music, but that's when I like saw people making music that weren't like big mega stars.
Right.
And
the attainable people. Yeah.
And that was a really inspiring time. And then it was only in, I think, my senior year that I was like, I want to do that. Like, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I had a band for a short time there.
What was it called? Band names are great. First band
Warm
names.
Arm. Warm Arm. Which
That's really weird because I used to have this Scottish manager, and I had 4 Scottish managers, but our band used to make fun of them by saying, "That ghetto has Wadham Autumns." So we would have called you Wadham Autumn.
Well, 4 Scottish Managers is a good band name too.
Yeah, it is. It's not a good business model though.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people yelling
you tell
at
me.
you.
I mean, it could be.
It was good.
Yeah. So then that band ended. I moved to New York briefly with a girlfriend I was with at the time,
Okay.
and we spent almost a year up there, and then I was like, I'm broke. I want to go back to Texas, but I don't want to go to Lubbock. All my friends were in Austin.
That's a tough move from NYC to Lubbock.
Yeah, that's a backwards.
That's a tough one to swallow.
And my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, Cody, had just finished college in Houston, and I was like, let's get a place in Austin, and start a band, and he was down. And
What does he play?
he plays guitar.
Okay.
And he had always been the one that like practiced music, and I was more just like, I like music.
Yeah.
And in high school we would make these like records, and
What do you mean, like on your computer or 4-track or something?
yeah, like we had like a little, like the cheapest microphones you could find.
Yeah.
And it was like him knowing a little bit about music and playing some stuff, and me not knowing anything about music and trying to sing on it, or just, we would like come up with these conceptual records.
Right.
Like, over and over. But for some reason, that's what the side of it that I was drawn to.
It seems to me, and I had this conversation. Do you know John Doe from X? The band X?
I know of him,
The
yeah.
Los Angeles. I just talked to him like last week, and we had this talk about when at one point punk rock wasn't a style of music. Mm-hmm. It was an idea behind what you're doing, the ethos, if you will. Right? And therefore, these guys are more like artists that would be creating in any medium. It's easy to do it when you learn the 3 chords. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you do it, and a lot of times those bands expand. And what I got from your small discography, and I know that you put out the Stand By Your Bill record a while back, is this growth to where like there's songs like and now this record isn't out yet, so some of these songs I'm referencing you can't go listen to, but I'm just going to reference them real fast. Never Open to the Public has some pretty expensive chords in it that wouldn't be used in punk rock, and these melody styles that are.
Yeah.
And so to me, is that what you kind of find yourself? I was going to say, do you fancy yourself an art rock bloke? Do you find like? Do you think of this band as less of a punk rock musically and more in the ethos of it, and you're an artist that's just making whatever the fuck comes out of them?
That's spot on. Yeah. I mean, I think like I never listened to punk growing up even. I wasn't like, I definitely attended a lot of shows in college that were noise or punk or, stuff like that. But really what appealed to me about shows was the stuff besides the music too, like the way that I would see people run into the crowd and just do experimental, things besides just like there was a ton of bands, especially at that time, that were like, we're just about the music. Like, we're not about dressing up. Like, these cargo shorts are what I always wear, and it's like, that was like a huge deal. And then I would just be like, okay, well, if that's the case, the songs need to be amazing, and they're not, so, and I was always, that's kind of what drew me to, I could do that because I felt like I understood or wanted to explore that side of it. And so, I think we were always really into like Daniel Johnston. Okay. And one of the first bands that like super inspired my brother and I when we were making music was the Monks, which were like a garage rock band in the 60s. They were all like American GIs that were in Germany. And while they were there, they started a band. And then after they got out of the army, they stayed there.
No shit.
And they got this crazy manager who was like, this is your look. You're going to all have monk shaved heads. Like they shaved the middle part of their head. And one of them plays banjo. One of them plays banjo strictly rhythmically. I gotta
write this down, man.
Oh, you gotta.
Obviously, you're gonna spend the rest of the day.
Black Monk Time is I think their only full length record, and it's a masterpiece. It's bizarre. bands like that. And then moving to Austin, we were like, well, what's the history of Austin music? We really were interested in that. And Big Boys was the one that...
Yeah, I read that in your bio.
My goodness, like, it just felt like they were tapping into that early punk that didn't have a fully formed, like, look. Or it just felt like there are no rules.
Butthole Surfers were like that too. There's just like...
Who was?
The Butthole Surfers. That seemed to be like whatever punk thing was happening there in the late 70s, early 80s here had transformed into these weird fucking dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's like parts of it is like psychedelic and parts of it is like garage rock and part of it is just kind of like naivete, like, what's the right way to play this instrument? I don't care. I'm just going to play it however makes me feel cool. And that always definitely appealed to me more than like looking and sounding like really tough or I don't know, like macho kind of element of punk that I didn't. I mean, there's elements of that in our music for sure, but I think that is more. I think there's a disconnect for me between what I like to listen to and what comes out when we make records.
Right, and there's also like you take a left turn from like the standard Ramones, Sex Pistols style of punk music. With like even like that first song Coma, like when the drums come in, that's like fucking prog rock Phil. Like you don't know what like.
Yeah, I mean,
like what did you say when he played that? Did he come up with that Phil, or did someone go like play something that's really fucked up that's gonna make a dude in his apartment go what? And that song's out, right? Yeah. The song came
that one's out.
That's a good song. You're great. You write these songs.
It's kind of like it's either me. Well, it's usually my brother or myself, but. Cody is not in the band anymore. He plays on this new record. It's we can get into that, but it's a complicated history of our
some Black Crow stuff.
Who's in our band?
Okay,
not drama, but just complicated.
This is gonna mess up my show, dude.
Historically,
can you quickly add some drama to this story. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, there might be. Historically, it was my brother would have like a fully formed idea. Like, what do you want on your salad? Like, he wrote 90% of that. And then there'd be, like, some verse lyrics I would come up with. Or I would just have a lyric idea that I would just, like, I put in my 2 weeks. Cody, this is a song. And he's like, no, it's not. That's not a good... I'm like, yeah, it is. Let's do it. Lots of arguments. Lots of, like, nah, that's not interesting enough. Or that's too corny. That's too sappy. That was his always, like, veto was... It's too like getting into emotions. Like it can't be
okay.
It can't be like a sincere human emotion. It has to be poking fun at something or, and
that's very. How old are you?
36.
Yeah, it's very your generation to be like, what's it called? Snarky.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just I can see where at the time I'd be like, yeah, but I want to have other things But I understand what he was coming from because there are some other artists that we always are like watching other artists, other bands, and I feel like there's kind of a genre, especially of a male artist, that is like, look at my feelings. Like, are my feelings really great? And like,
yeah, I'm one of those guys.
No, I mean,
no. I understand what you're talking about. I can laugh at it too.
I love like my number one probably listen to artist is like Elliott Smith. Like I love. I mean,
that was his set list. That's his
incredible.
shoe print on there.
I mean that is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that. But
I had a badass tour manager that worked a show of his and stole it from me.
Well, and I could talk about Elliott all day because to me. People misunderstand him. Like, people are like, oh, but he's just, I don't like listening to sad music. To me, it's not sad. It's sad. Like, there is music that is emoting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stand that. Like, it doesn't affect me at all. Right. But he is like, it's almost like a deadened.
Yeah.
There is no emotion because it's like, this is real.
Like you're not freaking out on Bono as a singer.
I mean, I don't have anything against.
No, but he's one of those guys that I feel.
I could never do that. It's never my. But I can totally relate to what Elliott Smith does. even though melodically he's like a god, it feels like a human being. And when he's
Extremely,
singing,
right?
Yeah, like it's like you feel his breath and you hear like the strings are tangible.
Yeah.
And it all just feels like
Yeah.
that I set aside then, like, here's a perfect folk song about how I'm a sensitive man. And
Yeah,
I'm not, like, I just feel like there's a line that people toe or don't toe that can kind of like ease into self-aggrandizement or like emotional Olympics, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we always wanted to completely stay out of that
Yeah,
line. And
yeah. It's kind of like how Seinfeld went in to do they're like, we don't want anyone to learn anything at the end of the episode. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No one's going to hug at the end of even the end of the whole show. They're just like, bye. They all walked off. You know what I mean? Yeah.
because that wouldn't be true to their sense of humor or
Right.
their nature.
Right.
And
No one can catch feelings here.
yeah, and I think as a human being that might not be the healthiest way to live, but as an artist, it's fun to like have a lane and not to say Elaine from Seinfeld, but yeah, you pointed out that some of these new songs kind of expand
Yeah,
from that, and I guess I don't know why.
You're growing.
I think I guess so. I guess we're allowing ourselves a little bit of.
Well, that's the thing is like
Feelings.
when punk rock was just an ethos and you had bands like Blondie, the Ramones, and Talking Heads all kind of lumped as the same thing, even though their music was nothing like each other,
Right.
their spirit was the same. And why they were doing it was the same. You know what I'm saying? And breaking out of a style of music and being able, to me, that's where a band, that's the difference between the Sex Pistols and the Clash.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
The difference between Fear and X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you can't judge it by the first record, but like after a few records, you can start to see like, oh, this is a band that's in it
Yeah.
for the long haul to evolve.
Yeah.
And to challenge themselves across the long term. And
Yeah.
that's,
There's a great song on there. I didn't write down the name, or I did, and I didn't write down what I wanted to say about it. But there's one song that I got a real like early 2000s Flaming Lips vibe from.
oh, I wonder which one. Is it
It has like whatever that drum, kind of a Yoshimi kind of drum beat.
maybe Humanoids?
Maybe so.
Because that one, yeah, I think that's the one where we were like, we purposely added that drum beat as like an experiment. What is it called? That tung, 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 tung. It's like a.
It's like a bossa nova or something. No, but it's like
not
it's like
exactly-
in that world.
I'm blanking on the, but
of
yeah,
like-
it's in a lot of like pop music lately.
Yeah, reggaeton has it.
Yeah,
right.
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
it's
yeah,
from.
Yeah,
And that was one that,
reggaeton.
like whenever we, like Alan is the drummer on this record. He's now our bassist, which is part of the confusing thing about our band.
You're
But,
gonna have to sit down and explain this after you
we'll
finish
have
your
to,
thought.
Yeah, we'll have to get back to that.
Yeah.
Whenever we're like, play this, like, let's say it's a reggaeton style beat, or like, let's play this like Jamaican, thing here. And then my thing is always like, oh, but you're making it all sound like you're trying to make the whole song like that. I just want that like hidden.
Right, right, right.
So we always kind of have this like negotiation of like, well, we don't want it to sound like we're doing that genre.
Right.
100%.
Don't make it the star of the show.
Just
Give
like,
it that flavor.
What would that sound like in a Big Bill song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that Big Bill then is you.
I
I mean, it's at this point, it's you kind of like you're the guy driving the boat.
At this point, I could probably, yeah.
You can comfortably say that.
I'm the only one that's not in a bunch of other bands.
Oh, right.
So I think that by default,
Dude, I hate that. I do. I fucking hate that. I'm 53.
I know.
I came up playing from the time I was like 14, my first band. There's a picture right behind you of me there, like with my guitar on an amp and stuff. We were going to die together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that band above it, like you're just a dude in one band. Like you're in this band.
Yeah.
I miss the romance of that. It just doesn't seem like that's really a thing anymore.
It seems like, yeah, it's unless you're really young or
Right.
like you have money somehow,
Yeah.
where you don't have to work.
Right.
I think that's part of it. Is like
Yeah.
people are just kind of drawn in all these different directions. It is sad.
In the 90s, you could get a booking agent. Like if you were good, you could get a booking agent and you could just go on tour 4 days a week regionally without a problem and then head out even further places for like a couple weeks and stuff. And,
Yeah.
those kind of like times have mellowed a bit.
Yeah, I wish it was like that.
What's weird because at one point, I feel like this, and maybe you do too. At one point, music really drove the culture. Like there was like you identified your human beingness to this music that you listened to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially like with punk rock and shit. Like,
It's like your whole identity.
Yeah, you weren't like when I was a kid. You weren't walking around like a punk rock guy listening to Hall & Oates. You were like in your lane.
Yeah.
And it was like a thing, and that was your vibe. You'd be willing to fight another dude because he was into Duran Duran. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is more cross-pollinated.
Yeah.
Now. I do. I work at a high school, and I see that there are still kids though that are like, I'm a goth now. And like, it's kind of beautiful. It's like, they don't, I try to like put myself in their perspective, and I'm like, you saw yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And you saw this other way of dressing and like being and listening to music and everything. And you're like, in one day, I'm throwing out everything. This is my identity. It's cool.
Got some L'Oreal blue black.
I admire that.
Dyed my hair.
It's brave. But yeah, I see a ton of just unexpected crossing over of styles, and that's cool too.
I see that in this cover band I'm in. We'll play like high school functions at times, and you see kids know the words to every song and every different kind of song. You know what I mean? Like they know the words to AC/DC and ABBA, and they're 17. And you're like, huh, what is? How does that work anymore? You know what I mean?
I wonder if it's just like algorithmic playlists, like feeding them stuff, and
I think also they get
big songs they hear about.
There's a lot in like they drive movies now, classic songs.
Yeah, that's true.
Either new versions of them or
TikTok,
or TikTok.
I know it from.
Do you TikTok? Are you in that world of?
We have a TikTok. Yeah,
I know.
If we had more time, we would. We like making funny videos. I mean, we did a video series of, I guess, reels on Instagram that were like us and Being Dead having a beef, and I had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, it's hard to find time. I mean, it's hard to find time on top of everything else that you're trying to do with music.
What do you do at the school? What's your role there?
I teach biology.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's I could get into it, but it's like I struggle with it because I think I still think of any job I have as a day job.
Yeah.
And I don't like to be like, I feel like with certain professions, it's like that's who you are.
Yeah.
They're like, well,
yeah.
if I died, it'd be like Eric Braden, teacher, and it's like I am loath to like claim that that's who I am.
Right.
It's my job.
Right.
And if I was a barista, they wouldn't be like, that's his career. He's a barista.
Right.
Which I always had jobs like that. Only in the past few years have I succumbed to a job like
What
this.
What made you do that?
I had a friend that was doing it, and she was really like encouraging, like, yeah, you should do it. It's, I mean, and it's, you get benefits. The pay.
Do you have kids or anything?
I don't have kids.
Okay.
We have a couple cats. I have, me and my wife, have 2 cats. I can't imagine.
What does your wife do?
She's going to grad school right now for landscape architecture.
Oh, cool, man.
Mm-hmm. So we carpool. I drop her off.
That is awesome. Dude, landscape architecture to me is like that's almost like fine art. You know, you're
It
working
is,
with
yeah.
so many different mediums, living mediums. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, you have to
If you're good at it.
know, design, architecture, and then like the plants themselves.
Botany, yeah.
exactly.
Got to know how they live. And she a xeriscaping fan?
Yeah, I
at
mean,
that.
native plants. You know,
Yeah.
she's the impressive one between us.
I'm already impressed. I'm like, dude, you scored a cool wife.
I did, yes.
So you can go to graduate school for landscape architecture? I didn't even realize that was the thing. That's insane. Is it like an
Yeah.
architecture degree?
It's a 3-year program.
No shit.
Very intense. She's
I
busy.
bet. Yeah, imagine.
She's very busy all the time. Yeah.
What did you go to school for?
Well, it was my undergrad degree was called Natural History and Humanities.
What does that entail? People and what they've done?
It was kind of a invented degree. Like it had just barely existed, and it was like it was really cool. It was created by a scientist and a writer. Well, E.O. Wilson actually, who was like he recently passed away, but he's a preeminent biologist.
Okay.
Like he invented this concept of sociobiology or something. He and I'm blanking on his name. There's a also famous science writer,
Yeah.
and they were like, we need a degree that's like both the arts and
Yeah,
writing,
yeah.
because all these scientists don't know how to communicate things, to
Right,
people,
yeah.
and all these writers don't understand science,
Right.
And so it was kind of an in between degree,
That's interesting, man.
which means it has no job.
Yeah,
lined up.
yeah.
But all the classes are really interesting, and it's like go pick like 3 science classes and go pick 3 philosophy classes and whatever sounds interesting, and that'll be your degree. You know,
That's
combining
awesome.
things. And I liked being a student. I mean, it was.
Did you go to graduate school?
No. After college, I was like, I want to have nothing to do with anything like this. You know, I worked at a barbecue restaurant for a year.
Here?
In Lubbock.
In Lubbock.
And I was just doing music stuff and just, I mean, that was a pretty sweet time. I kind of like the idea of, I think I read something around the time that was like downward mobility. It's like I want to go to a job that is mind numbing. I don't want to think.
Well, you can come up with songs, whatever your job is there. Your hands are busy and you're doing
Exactly.
the thing. It's going on automatic and you're fucking daydreaming, which is part of
Yeah.
our fucking job.
Yeah,
It's part of our job. Like, that's a difficult thing when you date someone that's not an artist or you get involved in something with somebody
Yeah.
that's not an artist. Like, what are you doing? This is part of the thing. Why are you just staring out the window? It's
I
part of
know.
the thing. I got to
know.
do it, man.
I have
gotta
to spend these hours.
Yeah.
Don't disturb me.
Yeah. I got to go. I got to go in.
No, it's so true. I mean, I was delivering. I mean, delivery driver is great because you're driving around. You're getting to like kind of. As far as I'm concerned, the driving around part of it is not even working because you're just like you're lowering the windows.
Yeah.
You're listening to music.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
It's coming back to the restaurant. Oh, you have all these orders.
Right.
lined up?
Right. Yeah.
I go do all these dishes, you know, like,
Yeah.
but I had a ton of delivery jobs over the years. Love those.
Do you ever come across anyone naked or anything like that in your delivery history? I've always wanted to have one of those jobs
did.
so I could like have one of those Playboy or Penthouse forum things. Like, I never
I know,
thought
right?
these stories were true until I was delivering for favor.
It's never what you no.
No, it's not.
You do learn a lot about society. I mean, I learned that like there's like certain class of people that tip really well, and the number one was always like barbershops, salons.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Yeah, because
They are also in the
Right.
tipping industry,
yeah.
you know.
same as bartenders and stuff like that.
And like older people were pretty good tippers. College students were really bad tippers, and cops. Which
Really?
you know, cops never tipped. I actually delivered to the jail there often, and it would be like huge orders, never a tip. They would want change to the penny every single time. I was like, well,
It's interesting. I guess they're like, look, man, if you're ever in a thing, I'm going to come save your fucking life. So there's your tip, buddy.
yeah, there's your tip. Buckle your seatbelt. It's like, well, you would think your PR For you want people to like you
Yeah.
more. Throw a few bucks at the delivery driver, or like.
It's weird because they get free
CEOs,
coffee at 7-Eleven and stuff,
Yeah,
and they get a lot of.
benefits. Come on.
I mean,
We're all working
They are in a
class
pretty
here.
dangerous job.
I guess they don't get tips, so they're angry. You know,
That's true. I've never tried to tip a cop. I've always wanted
right?
to.
Where's your tip jar?
Hey, buddy, I'll give you a good tip. Let me go. There could be
not a
$100
bribe.
in my trunk or not. So in Lubbock, like, what was the scene there? Like, was there a healthy scene? Was there an underground scene? Was there?
Yeah, I mean, I always compare it to like when I moved to Austin. It was kind of shocking because people would be like, "Well, where are you gonna be tonight? What show are you gonna go to?" And in Lubbock, it was like you don't have
show.
to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone's gonna be at the same show.
yeah.
It was rare that there was two competing shows that everyone was going to be at.
Yeah.
And by everyone, I mean everyone that, I hung around with because there were like country bars or, stuff like that.
right.
But the people that were kind of centered around the radio station.
Yeah.
Tons of house shows, tons of like people coming through that like the OCs would come through a lot. Every time they came through, their name was different back then. It was like
Who's that?
the OCs. They are now like for the past 10 years probably. They would come to like Hotel Vegas during South by and just play like the whole week. Like
Really? Okay.
They like it's like massive crowd surfing. Like they're really popular in the underground world. But at the time, we're more DIY. Ty Segall, stuff like that. Like early on, when he was just like a one-man band. And I remember Daniel Francis Doyle coming through. Who
I know that name, but I don't know.
he lives here in Austin now, and he came through and did like this one-man band thing where he drums. Well, what he does is he records all these loops on his guitar,
Right.
And you don't know what he's doing,
Right.
You're just watching him kind of work, and he's doing all these things.
Right.
And then he sits behind his drum kit and starts hitting the pedals to trigger what he just recorded.
Right.
And it's just doing blast beats and just like screaming. And it's like, it's one of the most exciting things ever. And then there were bands that were like people that I knew. There was these two brothers that had a band called the Numerators that I loved, and pretty inspiring in a lot of ways. Because they were brothers making music, and I feel like they kind of taught themselves. It felt like very DIY,
Like you guys did.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is like doable.
Yeah.
And I remember them evolving from the early days of like playing with like toy instruments and like just doing these weird experiments to like, oh, now we're gonna do a rap song, and I'm Numa, and he's Raider, like all these funny things that like eventually kind of they found their lane, and it became this much more, I don't know what the word is, but it kind of sanded off like the edges that didn't work, and then they had like, okay, well, we don't trade as instruments as often anymore because I'm just good at this, and he's good at that, and like, and it became like a really big draw. At least in that scene. And they would get to open a bunch of shows for bands that would be coming through. Really inspiring.
That's
really
awesome.
Inspiring time.
I've noticed that spaceflight is like this 0 to 60 like juggernaut super label that has like at least a third of the bands that you hear of on a regular basis,
Right.
on their thing. Did you go to them? Did you solicit them, or did they find you, or what happened?
We did go to them. We had this record finished, Public Freakout compilation.
Oh, by the way, I didn't even say I'll say it in the intro before we even start talking, so don't worry about it. But what a great title, by the way. Fucking
you.
great title for a record.
Thank you. Yeah, that was
Seriously.
Cody.
Especially
Yeah.
timing wise too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, it's named after a literal like genre of YouTube playlist. You know, Public Freakout compilation #2.
amazing.
And then we were like, well, will people think it's a compilation? No, it's like its own thing. Like we love a 3-word title. Something about that just feels like it's wrapping up a story. Like
Yeah.
it's telling,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's tying it all together.
It's enough words to tell you what's going to happen.
And that just felt like it summed up our live show. It just felt like it summed up the vibe of a lot of these songs. I think I've gotten off track. What was I saying? You asked me a question before we started.
We're talking about writing these songs. I was just basically when you made this record, you started saying we were talking about Spaceflight. How you
Spaceflight,
got
yes.
you sent it to them. So when did you record this record?
Well, we recorded it in 2019.
Okay,
So
I've noticed there's a lot of those. Like a lot of people coming with their record was done like back in the olden times.
So we finished we released our first full length Stand By Your Bill at the end of 2017. We spent all of 2018 twice a week workshopping songs and like coming up with demos and then setting them aside because we just wanted a whole bunch of demos. And I think we had like 60 something demos by the end of the year, and some of them more finished, some of them just like, okay, here's a
Right.
something we came up with. And then we were like, let's record our favorites from all of these across 2019. And then we did with our first record, we did that with Justin Douglas all at once across a couple weekends.
Okay.
With this, we were like, let's do 2 songs at a time, and let's do a different producer for every 2 songs. And so it's 5 different producers.
Who all did you use?
So we used Michael Landon of Estuary.
Not of Little House on the Prairie.
No, this is John.
He's
Michael
not alive
Landon,
anymore. Yeah.
Who is a brilliant engineer,
Bass player too, right?
And our friend. I think he plays several.
Okay.
Pretty much whatever. That was like we took to him our like punkest songs.
Okay.
We kind of like siloed the different styles. So we're like, let's go with.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then we did a couple songs with Dan Duzinski in his studio in Dripping Springs. And
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Loma is a band he's in with the singer of Shearwater. And
Oh, I do know that band. I've never heard them, but I know of that band.
and he is a great producer. We did like kind of our like rock and roll songs with him as opposed to the punk side of it, more like straight ahead rock and roll.
Would you say like would you call one of those songs like Almost Everybody is a
Yeah.
rock and roll song? Yeah.
Yeah, we did Almost Everybody
Okay.
and the finale 33 and a third.
Yeah, good song.
with him.
Yeah.
And I think Almost Everybody came together really fast, and then 33 we had to come back like 3 times, and I think after the second time he was like, it's done, y'all shouldn't come back, and we came back twice more. We're like, I'm so sorry, man, but we don't like what we did. But like I think Cody really wanted to have these intricate like subtle like backup vocals in that song. But we also worked with Eric Wofford.
Yeah. He makes fabulous microphones. Ear, right? Isn't he an
I don't.
East Austin recording
It was.
or some other place?
I should have studied up on this.
That's all right,
before.
man.
What is it called? It starts with a C. He had a studio in
Cacophony.
Cacophony. Yes, you got it.
I'm a huge fan of his work.
I mean, amazing.
Amazing.
I think he had. I think we first came across his name. Maybe he had mastered something that Being Dead had done, or mixed it or something. And then I know he had worked with Molly Birch. We're like, let's try out this guy, and like he is the master of textures.
Yeah.
Just really cool, subtle like effects that he would throw in.
So is it say like the song that I was talking, Humanity?
You nailed it. Humanoids.
Humanoids. Sorry, buddy.
And
Doing the best I can.
And Society Man, which
Okay.
is I don't know what we would
Those are
call
the dreamier tunes. It's
They are,
funny
yeah.
because like you look at this record as like an album and a piece of work, and there is like almost like a White Album, like the Beatles' White Album
Yeah.
vibe to it, where you know, Bungalow Bill is on the same record as Helter Skelter. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what we wanted to do, yeah. And by going to 5 different producers and not really sharing, like,
not letting
they're
each
like,
other hear.
what's the other song sound like? And we're like, well, you'll see.
Well, it's funny because there is a sonic cohesiveness to the whole thing. Did one person mix it, or everybody mix their
They
own
all
shit?
mixed their own,
And one guy mastered it.
and one guy mastered it.
Okay, well.
And then so I think I've told you 4,
Yeah, 4.
and then there was Danny Reich.
I love Danny.
Love Danny as well. And what can you say? So he did the second one, Never Open to the Public.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Oh, and Tommy. And those are
Right.
kind of like
Tommy's pretty epic.
Those are in the same category, I think, as the ones we did with Eric. They're kind of like
Yeah. A little dreamier.
little of each.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit of everything.
Yeah.
But also really, really fun. It was fun to go out to Lockhart to record those songs.
Did you eat the barbecue out there when you were there?
I did not. I and my brother are vegan,
Oh man,
so we missed out. But we had
your music's so tough too.
you know. But Alan and Alex, I'm pretty sure enjoyed
Yeah.
the barbecue of Lockhart. If anyone's listening,
So is it tough being like? Do you guys go on the road?
we went on an East Coast tour in 2018.
How was that?
It was a blast. Yeah, we went for like a month and a half, I think.
Jesus.
We went out all the way up to Montreal and then across to Toronto and then kind of back down through like Denver. And
Did you get fans? Like, were you on tour with another band? What's going on,
it was
dude?
very DIY.
Oh, man.
A lot of the shows were good.
Yeah.
You know, most of them weren't like on the level of the shows we play in Austin, but
Yeah.
it's just fun. It's a fun.
Yeah. Well, were you planning on going back?
Yeah,
Because that's like one of those things. Like, if you go do it once, then why did you do it? Because I mean, unless you're doing it for fun, because it's super fun to do. But
yeah.
like strategically, as a person who makes their living off of that shit, I'm like, why the fuck did you even go if you're not going to go back?
Well, we want to go back.
Right. Of course, you had the world closed down. That's what I'm saying. Did you have plans to, like, oh, maybe we'll go back and hit some of these cities that were good?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy because we've done 2 big tours. We did it in 2014 and then 2018. So it's like we really need to like get these closer together.
Right.
at a
So you
certain
can
point.
build a crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Yeah. Okay. So do you own a van, or did you have to rent a van, or what's happening?
We had like a friend that had a van. So and this, yeah. Oh man.
Poor guy.
No, and it went. All the bearings started falling out of the wheel at one point, and I don't know how that works, but the thing that holds them all together just started coming apart. And
Yeah.
so yeah, we pulled off the road, I think in Nebraska, and we were late. We had to skip a show
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Did you miss any from that?
so that we could get to Denver,
Right.
which was an adventure in Denver because the person we were supposed to stay with we couldn't get a hold of.
Oh yeah.
So we had to just sleep in the van. My brother and I were sleeping in our sleeping bags, like on the curb next to the van.
Yeah.
And we were waking up. A firefighter is like nudging us with his boot. He was like, he was nice. He's like, yeah, the cops are probably on their way next. So y'all, I'm the one in uniform that you don't want to.
Yeah.
That you do want to see, not those other guys. And we were like, okay, let's get out of here. And then we were exhausted and we had a show that night, so we went to one of those like dollar cinemas where it's like
Slept in the movie.
Yeah, we slept through.
Oh, that's cool.
We slept through A Wrinkle in Time. I'll never forget. Yeah, from what I saw of that movie, it's a bizarre.
Is that
film.
C.S. Lewis who wrote that?
I guess so.
That's right. The line that "What's in the wardrobe, dudes."
Is that?
Yeah.
I could be mistaken. It that might not be the name of it, but it's something like that.
Some movie like that. Yeah.
Some fantasy movie.
You never realized you were going to be grilled about that part of the whole podcast.
Get off of my back.
Hey, Johnny. I can't help you with your C.S. Lewis trip you're going on right now. So, what's next? Like, what happens now for Big Bill?
Well,
you know, you guys should do. Never seen you play. Just had a great idea.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Ask
go
you a
ahead.
question and then interrupt you like my aunts with short attention span.
group suicide.
No. I was thinking you should go on stage to the Van Halen version of Big Bad Bill. You know that song? Big Bad Bill is sweet, William now. Like a weird 20s kind of song.
Yeah. Well,
Crowd goes nuts.
we played in February a show at Chirp Charlie's, which I love playing at their outside stage because they have that little
Oh, yeah.
walkway where you can come from backstage.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the venues we play at, there is no backstage.
No,
You just walk through
it
the
kind of
crowd.
kills the whole mystique vibe.
So it's fun to have that, and it was a cold, really frigid day in February, and we were like, "Hey, can y'all play? It's a cold night for alligators, for us to walk out to."
Yeah.
And they did, and it was amazing. But one song that we've played a lot. It's not a song, but you know the Bill Nye theme song.
Yeah. See, that's cool.
Just the part where it's going, Bill, Bill,
Yeah,
Bill,
yeah,
Bill.
that's cool as shit.
There's this YouTube video where they loop that for like 10 hours. And
Yeah.
So we've had many shows where we have them play that really loud. Gets people hyped. Yeah,
That's
fun.
cool,
That's a
man.
fun one.
It's funny, man. That sort of thing sets the you know, like having a backstage, you know, like having a show, right? Not like a band at a bar where the guy was over there having a shot with you just before he's like, oh shit, I gotta go play.
Yeah.
Like a guy that you're like, where did he come from? How is that guy? How's that even a person? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, as a person as a young person going to shows, like I mean,
It's tough here in Austin too because there's like Hotel Vegas doesn't have a fucking backstage.
no. And the thing is that what I'm wearing right now, the audience can't see this, but this is the uniform that we show up to venues in.
Yeah.
And we sound check in these,
Yeah.
and then we like run off stage and put on a totally different outfit for our stage costumes.
Right. I've seen your photos. I appreciate that. Like I like
which is something we came up with over the pandemic. And Sloan Lenz of the band Lord Friday
Just
the
had them on the
13th.
show. Love them.
Yeah, she designed it, and
It's another punk rock band.
yeah, I mean, right when we first came across them, we're like, well, this is clearly, you know, our people.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Family.
And yeah, the creative.
Those motherfuckers understand the show.
Yes.
Like even before they understood how to play music, they got how to get their message across.
And like we were early on in our we
just
played
called them
like
motherfuckers.
the Sailor Poon. We played their first
Yeah,
show
amazing
in,
band.
in a back alley, and right away they were already incredible. They've also evolved a lot over the years,
Yep.
like us, with a lot of different lineup changes. I love them.
Yeah.
Love that whole vibe. Love the chaos vibe.
I do,
The,
too.
The art chaos.
Yeah. Billy's such a great talent, man. All around visual artist, Billy Buck.
And a really nice person.
Say, like, really nice person.
You don't always find that.
You know what's funny about my relationship with her and with Ben is I'm their dad's friend, which is fucking weird to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know him as Mike's kids. Like it's been a long transition from the last few years to be like, you guys,
Yeah.
like we have our own thing. Like I'll call it, like I don't need to ask your dad how you're doing.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful. There's we did over the pandemic we did this like live cover of Walk of Life by Dire Straits, and
It's a
we
weird
got
choice.
Sloan. Yeah, I know, but it was fun.
Yeah.
We got Sloan involved, and our friend Tim Bond, and a few other people. But the reason I bring up this story is Tim Bond has been around long enough to where he's like, I recognize her. He's like, yeah, I met them when they were kids.
Yeah.
And so, you know, similar kind of story. And I love that.
I'm in a band with their stepmom.
I mean,
I am.
it's beautiful.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. What amazing. So in this, like in Austin, you guys came here, and obviously there's a lot more of a structured scene. Like we have some weird form of health insurance, some weird form of like mental health insurance, some way for people to get guidance, a way for people to get $10,000 to $20,000 from this group of people that invite you to this thing. Which have you guys been? You guys seem like you're a little more outside than Black Fret.
They've never reached out to us or acknowledged us, but you never know.
Have you ever gone to any of the? Have you ever like?
I've never been to one of their shows,
Right.
but
The structure of their
cool what they
thing
do.
is very cool. It's very cool, but it's also like it's like people that don't go out. Like, hey, you don't go out, so we'll put together these, and I don't mean that bad either. We'll put together these events for you that are like of the caliber of the thing that you like when you go out. So it's like at some rich dude's mansion in like the backyard.
Yeah.
And it's like, I see them warming up to people that color outside the lines more.
yeah. I mean,
But it seems like that rich folks that want to see like sometimes something that's very not normal,
yeah.
and like it fits in the box of things that they can tell their friends they saw without being like, oh, they were weird.
Yeah.
They sound check in these weird tracksuits and then they come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's an interesting element of
And once again, I'm not disparaging them in any way. That's just the structure of the thing. But they're giving people fucking a lot of money
yeah.
to do shit with.
I think in general, the people with money, not just talking about that organization, but the people with money tend to be older and
Scared of weird stuff.
and yeah, it's like it doesn't always even if you're like a super music fan,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean you have the ultimate taste or
Right,
or
exactly.
that you understand everything that is good in music. In fact, you might have bad taste. It's possible.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not talking about them, but you do see this happen where someone will be like, I've got an extra $600,000. I'm going to start a record label. I love music. And then it's like they're making all the decisions, but they're not tapped in. And you kind of see
Right.
someone will just get chosen to
Right.
receive everything they need to be an artist and not have to have another job.
Right.
But usually, yeah, like you're saying, they're not going to bet on the weirder things. It's going to be like, this sounds like something that's already successful. And I feel
Yeah.
like I can invest in that with
Right.
confidence. And
Right.
it makes me feel good because I can see the virtuosity. It's
Right.
easy. And,
Right.
and like, not to disparage any genre of music, anybody creating deserves props,
Sure.
but like, we always kind of tried to avoid sounding like a genre or
Yeah.
sounding like something that already existed,
Yeah.
and not just in local, patron type stuff,
Sure.
but like in the music
In the music industry in
general,
general, yeah.
What takes off tends to be stuff that is at least riffing on something that everyone already knows.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what I notice that stands out about you and your band, and also thanks for coming in. I know that at first it was presented as it's hard to have this conversation with 3 people or 4 people. You know what I mean? Like one guy won't talk the whole time, then you got to kind of go back. Hey, Dave, you all right, man?
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
We tend to just send one person anyway
Yeah.
because
A lot of bands feel like, oh, we all gotta. I mean, there's exceptions. Like Calliope Musicals as a group is fucking hilarious to have. But also, I couldn't have the conversations that I've had with Carrie by herself about the. Are you a fan of theirs?
Oh, yeah.
The impact that I went to go see some in store that they had at Waterloo, and it's difficult for me to actually talk about this without getting choked up. The way that they, specifically she, makes human beings feel like they're not alone
Yeah.
is like fucking magic, man.
Yeah.
It is like, it really makes me emotional because it's like something that I've always wanted to be able to do and never had the power to do it because I was too influenced by someone like Bowie that wants to like be like, fuck you, I'm better than you.
Or like I'm an alien.
Right, yeah, you can't touch me. You won't even, yeah, you can't. I'm the super. But what she does,
Yeah.
and that thing of like, hey, when you come to this thing, we're all like, you're in your family and with your tribe, and it's fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah. No, again, Carrie is a person that is like, even if there was no music, you would feel like, oh, this is a person that is like in touch with some deeper, you know, thing. And really, like during South by, I think we were walking down the street in our tracksuits, and perfect moment where she just cruises by and is like, "What's up, Bills?" You know, it's like, I love her. Yeah, I love that band.
Well, there's also something that you guys share in common is that you're putting on a fucking show, and like you're like, there's a lot of there's 60,000 songs going to Spotify every week. There's a bazillion fucking bands playing, 80% of them for free. So what's going to make someone pay to come see you? And it seems like you guys, I've not seen you live. I saw some stuff online and stuff and seen pictures, but you guys have that same sort of like, oh, you're going to get your money's worth in almost like a Kiss fashion.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, there's like, it depends on the vibe. I feel like the ideal situation is there's a receptive crowd.
Yeah.
And it's busy and the space is filled and it's going to be a great vibe. Like I can just tell right away people are ready to have fun. There are shows that we play not as often as in the past, like where it was the usual. A few of the South by shows were random like this, where like most of the crowd doesn't know us. And it's like, they're kind of like, you know, their arms are crossed. There's just kind of a vibe of like, I don't trust you yet enough for me to like, I'm not going to get up there and dance, you know?
Yeah.
And that is a whole other challenge that is kind of fun that I feel like, I feel like if we were more successful, we wouldn't ever get that chance. You know, like Beyonce doesn't ever have to like win over a crowd member.
There's no better feeling than going into a room where nobody knows who you are and you got to fucking...
Suddenly they're smiling and they're looking at their friend amazing, like, what is this?
Yeah.
How do we not know this? You know, and that's addictive. At the same time, it kind of brings out of me a little bit of a I'm going to fuck with you kind of vibe.
Of course, as it should.
Like I'm going to...
That kind of power and control has to be abused in some way.
I might knock your drink out of your hand, but you're going to wake up and then maybe you're going to dance. So it's almost like I'm more alive because I feel like I have to be on. Like, it's a little easier to just kind of go with the flow if it's already a buzzing crowd. Yeah. But that's also really fun too. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, nothing's better than that.
You know, but what you said about like what Carrie does and like I'm getting visited by a dog here. Rosie.
It's a calm visit.
Yeah.
It's just a friendly hello.
There is like an intensity to the connection between performer and audience member that I love breaking that barrier.
Yeah.
It's
fun to entertain, isn't it? It's fun to be in charge of lifting a room.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of pressure sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have to step outside yourself sometimes because there's not every time you walk into a gig, you know.
Yeah.
I did a whole tour getting divorced from my wife on a phone. Like,
wow.
Dude, the shows were the best time I had in my life.
Yeah.
Like I was so appreciative to get up and play.
No, art when you're going through like life changes is
unbelievable.
Imprinting. Like the memories are.
It's a great word for it.
But like, I think about that a lot because I am definitely an introverted person. Like there's no doubt about it. When I walk into a room,
Yeah, you were like that when you came over, when you were so quiet that I was
I'm not
fuck,
like-
this is going to be a long hour.
I don't naturally just like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like bouncing around,
Yeah.
like, but, and I think I just kind of like to, you know, I'm not comfortable yet. Like I wait it out.
Take it in.
I just kind of like I'm observing, you
Yeah.
know, but there is something transformative about you have the loudest voice in the room. Like I think about in a small circle of people at a bar, I might just be standing there, you know, and I don't want to take over the conversation because I hate when people do that. I don't like extreme extroverts that don't listen to other people. I like to listen.
Right.
But when you are expected to do that, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You're not you're not like, even though in some cases it feels like this, you're not invading anybody's space. Like this is my space.
Right.
You're here and we're here to do this. So
Right.
if you don't, you know, if you're not into it, you can go into the yard. You know, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
go hang out out there. Like we recently played a show with Dracula's.
I don't know them.
It was the same thing. Their singer on stage is a total. He's in Riverboat Gamblers.
Okay. Yeah.
This was our first time playing with them, but like he's a total character. Like
Is he the comedian guy?
yes,
Yeah.
Mike.
I've hung out with that guy at comedy shows
Yeah,
with other comedians. Yeah. Not that I am. I was there as the
Yeah.
musician friend.
yeah. I mean, seeing him perform and then encountering him off stage was like two different people.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And I could relate to that.
Yeah.
I think someone like, and I don't want to, you know, someone like Carrie of Calliope Musicals maybe is more like her that way.
Yeah.
She's more sociable, I would
Yeah.
say. And she might disagree, but I think that we've encountered a lot of people like that, though, that are like, you would never guess
Right.
that they are,
Yeah.
you know, grabbing people's drinks out of their hands and pouring it all over themselves and doing all this crazy, like, rolling
That's what
around
you
on
do.
the ground.
You keep on referring to taking people's drinks, knocking people's drinks out of their hand. What's going on? I'm gonna stand in the back.
You know, I like to make people
Engage.
no, maybe more so back in the day we would do stuff explicitly like that, but
Yeah.
I do enjoy rattling people a little bit.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Your record comes out, Public Freakout compilation drops on June 10th, 2022. Is there a release show involved with this night?
Yes, we're doing the release show on a few weeks later, July 1st.
Okay.
So give people a little bit of time to, you know, learn the songs,
Just
get
be
ready,
able to sing along. Yeah.
write up your posters to hold up to us, you know.
Oh, do you do that? You encourage that? Oh.
I mean, sure. At Hotel Vegas, no one would be able to see, you know. Just,
What a funny room. Like that place. My friends bought that place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Hotel Vegas, like a
Yeah.
hotel place or whatever the fuck was going on downstairs. I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
But that turned into one of those rooms where the first time I went there when they first opened, I was like, oh, okay. Kind of like the front room with the hole in the wall or something where you're like, how's this? This is a place? Like, this sucks. But you know what? It has the magic.
it does.
And it has transcended. I saw a fucking Spoon in that room.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I
it just
remember,
was like...
I remember that night because I was driving past it and I had the windows down.
Yeah.
And the person I was with, we were both like, oh, Spoon's fucking playing right now at Hotel Vegas. We could hear it, you know. And so we like parked around the corner and ran inside. I think we saw like the last two songs.
Unbelievable
Maybe
shit.
from the sidewalk actually because it was,
Yeah, it was packed.
yeah. But yeah, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough.
You like those guys?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Have you been to Public Hi-Fi? You guys thought of working with the gym?
No, but that would be cool. I mean, we love exploring new places to record and meeting new people.
Seems like you do, and you worked with some real fucking great people. Your record is fantastic.
Thank you.
Eric. It's been also, you're a much better than I thought this was going to be when we were just talking in the kitchen. Not in a bad way, but I was like, oh, it seems like a quiet guy.
Well,
People try and get me to get Hayes Carl in here. You ever talk to that guy? I mean, he's a singer-songwriter guy, but
Yeah, I definitely know of him.
and I'm always like, I don't want to like make him uncomfortable just trying to talk to him about his life.
I think he's probably a pretty funny guy. You know,
Not in this
Those country-
scenario.
You think?
No, he's a pretty serious cat
Okay, well,
in his
could
interviews.
surprise you.
He
Johnny.
could. He could. He could.
Maybe the coffee you gave me woke me up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ask a question?
Did
Where
I?
were we?
Well, I was asking what's going to happen now. You guys going to go out and do some shows? Are you going to do the follow up to the 2018 East Coast tour to Montreal?
You know, I want to. I desperately want to. But we don't have anything planned. I mean, we have the record is coming out.
Do you tour regionally? Like the Houston, Dallas, San Antonio
We've
trip?
done
Lubbock?
some of it. You know, we've done Lubbock, we've done San Antonio, and Houston. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we should do it more often.
Yeah.
Build up more.
That's
of
how you do it.
A base there. We need to.
It's discouraging the first few times.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes 6 times to go, but then all of a sudden, you know. It seems like if you get a band, though, and there's people, if you're able to get a show, like with somebody there, where maybe there's at least 40 people,
Right.
that you'd get at least 20 that would tell other people and come see you play the next time, and then you'd have, you know, you'd seem like that kind of band. Like, same thing with Lord Friday the 13th, or like Pelvis Wrestling, or Calliope Musicals. Like, if you
Yeah.
just happen to see them opening for some band you went to go see from Houston, you'd shit in your pants.
Yeah. That's the thing about Austin. There are so many of those bands that
All the time.
are like hidden gems that
Yeah.
no one would believe so many exist in one town. But they do.
Yeah. You can think of yourself as like, oh, no, I'm this great dude, but in the fucking building over there is some guy with a podcast doing better than mine, and a guy living next door who writes better songs than me.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse. You know, the challenge. You're constantly inspired and challenged, but there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you know,
I feel like Austin's one of those places like that, like almost like you know, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like whatever the Round Rock Express. Like, you go there, you get your shit together,
yeah,
you become a fucking badass, then you go to one of the places where the industry is, and you're like, hey, and then they take you.
yeah. I feel like a lot of
Farm League.
yeah.
I don't mean that bad.
We definitely know a lot of bands that have left.
We don't necessarily even have to leave, but you can go do your business. Like, I was in a band that was signed to a label and like publishing company and all that shit. We lived here and we went and did our shit where they needed us to.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
However we can do it.
Yeah.
The Spaceflight is helping us push this record, and then we'll, I guess, see what the reaction is. Like,
Yeah.
we have 2 more videos coming out for it.
Oh, you do?
We have a video coming out April 29th.
Right. This will be out then for almost everybody.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then we have another one coming for Society Man.
Nice.
In June when the record comes out.
Okay.
And then I guess we'll just see what happens. Hopefully it gets us more opportunities.
Yeah. Well, I hope that I'm free in July when you do your record release show, because I would love to go see you guys live and celebrate with you. And also, I want to give a shout out to Samara. Great person. She's been very helpful to my show. And I've had those guys on her and what I'm drawing a blank on Spaceflight guy. Brett. Had her and Brett on the show. Talked about what they're doing and the fact that they're just doing this out of their love of music and not letting people fall through the cracks is pretty badass, because they're not making $1 million. And they're working their asses off.
They are.
They got a
And,
bazillion bands.
Yeah, Samara is, I don't know how she does it, because I feel like she's in constant contact with us.
She must be in constant
She's working
contact with
so
everyone
many
else.
other bands.
Yeah.
And like you said, yeah, the reason that we were excited to work with them is like half of our friends are already associated with Spaceflight. It's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. The work they do is incredible too. Like what they're doing with nothing. So it's not like they're funded with like bazillion dollars, but like
yeah, and they have a lot of connections that are very helpful and
yes. Hey,
yeah.
you got in my dining room on Easter.
You know what? I don't see anybody else in here.
You got to hang out with Rosie on Easter.
I don't see Britt Daniel in here. So yeah,
I don't want to be a jerk, but he has been
very.
in here.
Well, he's not here right now. He's not here on a major holiday.
No. It's reserved for Big Bill. This is our
We're
day.
super grateful for Samara and Brett and
Yeah.
Spaceflight. And also it's fun to be part of a family.
Yes.
And I want to work with some of those artists on this. On that label.
Well, you look at the success in like whatever the modern record industry has been since like the 50s and shit. And there was like Chess Records, there was Motown Records, there was, Sub Pop, which is more along the lines of where you guys are at, where these people are like this fucking launching pad for like every band you're going to hear about for the next 10 years, And I feel like that about Spaceflight could be that kind of label. I mean, you never know until it actually is taking off and doing all that stuff, and I don't know how much bands take off anymore.
That's exactly true. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if there can be another Nirvana, just because people's attention is so scattered in different ways, and everyone's tuned into their own channel. There's not like one channel everyone's tuned into anymore.
I think it's something that I am more cognizant of than when I was a kid, because you look at Sub Pop and you're like, wow. What a scene that was!
Yeah, total scene.
But then when you read about the history of it,
everyone was getting fucked.
well, like all of those early Sub Pop singles, I think the guy who made it was like taking the pictures, or whoever was taking the pictures. They were, because all the early records they had like a photo of a show, and it was like they wouldn't show the 90% of the room that was empty.
Right.
They would show the 3 kids in the front
freaking out,
doing a flip, or some moment that was like, this looks fun. This looks like a scene.
Yeah.
And it's really a scene. You can build a scene is like in the mind.
Yes,
because it's, unless you're all like 16, you're probably not all hanging out. Mm-hmm. We consider ourselves part of a scene with a lot of bands that we only see a few times a year.
Right.
But when you see them, it's like family. It's like, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah.
But we're not like hanging out all the time, writing songs together and just like waking up in an alley together.
Right.
But that's what you think of as a scene. It's like, oh my God, they're all like living in a house together.
Yeah.
And
you want to be part of that scene, or at least associated with that scene.
Yeah. And I think you kind of it's a type of PR. It's like, well, you're associated with this like vibe, and it becomes, and then suddenly everybody was going to Seattle to see these shows, and these people are like looking around, like all of a sudden it's packed.
Yeah.
Like what happened? Like and
that bullshit on those album covers of the 3 dudes standing in the front of the stage really sold this vibe.
I think about that a lot because like for instance, and I think about, there was a moment, I want to say 2017, we played a show with another band that we really connect with, is a Giant Dog, and we opened a show for them. Really, this was right before they like got really big locally and beyond. I think they were about to put out the record that like kind of elevated them to that level.
Yeah.
And it was like shocking to me, because I remember looking around at that show and be like, there's not a ton of people here. This is kind of a sleepy show that we're playing. And then it was like a few weeks later, they were never going to play a show like that again.
Nope.
And I think that like we have gotten to a level where we can pack out some of these local venues, but we have to be careful, because if you present yourself with the wrong lineup at the wrong night of the week, maybe people won't come out, and then what they see is, oh, this band isn't that popular.
Yeah.
Like perspective is everything.
Sure.
And I realize that more now than when I was younger. Like choosing carefully which shows you agree to, which shows your
It's maturity.
Putting yourself in the right context for people to see you and expect that you're going to be good. You know,
Right.
So we did a show. That show I mentioned with Dracula's like, it was at a venue that we had never played, and it was like on a Sunday night, and it was pretty like we were all kind of like, oh, we haven't played a show like this in a long time, but there's not going to be anybody here.
Yeah,
It was
lightly attended.
It was lightly attended, and there's something kind of good about that because it kind of tells you like you're not hot shit, you know, like this you're just a person playing a show, like, and you need to try to win them over, or just get through it, play the show. But it also kind of tells you like even a really massive band, if they could arrange it to where that no one will be there if they did it all the wrong ways. Yeah. It's kind of like those videos online of like the person that is like the best violinist in the world. They go to the subway and they're just playing and no one even stops. Yeah. And it's context. You know, if they're not playing at Carnegie Hall, no one's gonna go, "Oh, I'm supposed to think
exactly
this is
right.
the best
Exactly
thing
right.
ever."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
There's a bit of demystification that comes along with realizing it's not just a meritocracy.
Right.
Like people do have to like your songs, but
you have to create some stuff.
Yeah, you have to kind of.
Madonna is the person who, in our lifetime, has created this gigantic career out of that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. She.
Bowie too.
You know, they were never. Neither of them were like the virtuos. Like you would look at them and go, "Oh, like they have the most amazing voice." Right. That's like they are pure. Like talent.
She doesn't have the most amazing voice.
It's like context. You put it in the right song, and the right art and the right art direction and stage direction, all that stuff. Yeah, you know, hence our costumes. You know, we're trying to present ourselves.
Dude, I appreciate that shit. Yeah,
you know, as
hell yeah,
okay,
man.
We didn't just wake up. And do this. Like, we want to present a show. Yeah. Or have some mystery to it. Like, what is with that?
There is that thing of like the
cult. You know,
the look like the audience thing and feel like the audience thing is cool for some people, but I also like to know that I'm paying money to see something that I couldn't do.
Yeah, it's cool for Jimmy Buffett.
It's cool for Jimmy Buffett. That's really the only thing cool about Jimmy Buffett. I have a Jimmy Buffett aversion. Except for the name of his band, the Coral Reefer Band, I think is a great band name.
I think
and I like 70-year-old people
smoking.
Shaker
Shaker of Salt is a good lyric.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that lyric, but...
Well...
And Margaritaville apparently is written about Austin. He was here in Austin when he wrote that.
It seems like...
Seriously, I heard that
seems like it's a lot more about Austin than any other place. Eric, it's been great talking to you, man. And your record is great. I already said that, but I mean it.
That I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. I've enjoyed listening to it, and I hope to come out and see you play, and I hope that that we stay in touch. I love what you do as an artist. You're fucking great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
it's
man.
been a pleasure.
Yeah. We're all okay?
Yeah.
All right, dude. Thank you for doing the show.
Thanks for having me.
Don't throw stones into me.
That was Eric Braden from Big Bill, amazing band from right here in Austin, Texas, with their brand new album, Public Freakout Compilation, coming out June 10th on Spaceflight Records. Go to bigbillband.com to get involved with Big Bill. You know what I'm saying? Also, you can check out their singles from the album, Almost Everybody and Forget About Monday, available now wherever it is you stream and download your jams. And gang, don't forget when you're out there checking out bigbillband.com, you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is you find podcasts. New shows every Tuesday, every Thursday, sometimes 3 shows a week, sometimes more. Sometimes from the Vault series, because now we're in the 1100 of all these shows, you know, we're dropping them all. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, Spotify, anywhere you find podcasts. New shows all the time. All right? Have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing. Here's some more music from Big Bill. Let's get down.